Dinner speech 3/10/2013, Joran Buwalda.
Good evening. I would like to tell you something about a book I read. The book is called The Great Gatsby. And I started reading the back of the book, The Great Gatsby, and it immediately grabbed my attention. So I thought, let's start with the first chapter, and if it's nothing, I can always stop and read a different book. What was remarkable from the first word I read was that the language is very complicated in this book. There are many incomprehensible words and complex sentences. The content isn't of less complexity. There are two strong moral lessons that speak from this book. One, that the American dream, that you can become anyone you want, you can become a millionaire if you want, is an illusion. It simply doesn't fit into reality. And two, you cannot revive the past. The beginning of the book was actually
1 minute.
quite boring. I started reading about Nick, who gets to know Mr. Gatsby. And Mr. Gatsby is a very rich man. He organizes great parties at his house. Somehow, nobody really seems to know about the identity of Mr. Gatsby. Until Nick becomes a friend of Mr. Gatsby. And from that moment, the book becomes interesting. We read that Mr. Gatsby was, in his young years, a poor man. He fell in love with a very rich girl named Daisy. In order to be able to marry her, he had to reinvent himself as a rich person, and he did so by entering the criminal business. He earned a lot of money there, and now in the present situation of the book, he is a rich and glamorous man, and he gets into touch with Daisy again. Daisy, however, is married to a new man now. Despite that,
2 minutes.
Mr. Gatsby is confident that Daisy never really loved that other man and still loves him as it was in the past. Sadly, he is wrong about that. Eventually, his love for Daisy even gets him killed. The illusion Gatsby lived was an illusion that wasn't true. He reinvented himself, but it eventually got him killed. As you see, we learn a lot about the language, English, and about moral values in this book. For those of you who don't really like reading, I would not recommend this book. For those of you, however, who would really like to read something challenging, The Great Gatsby is an absolute recommendation. Thank you very much.